to our three on the stage. Over to you, gentlemen.
We are amazingly fortunate to have 2 times 3 stars in front of us. This is one of the highlights of this year's Welcome Summit, because I do know Singaporeans like to be starstruck, so here we go. Yannick and Bruno. Bruno is our own resident chef at La Cantine. Yannick, I've had him, we were in a festival together some time ago. And both of them are exemplification of what we always continue to talk about, that the product is the most important ingredient in cooking. And of course, since both of them represent French cuisine, we're talking about the most important ingredient in French cooking. And this is where we have a very unique combination, because Yannick represents the being in France style of cooking and working almost on a day-to-day basis with French products. Bruno left 20 years ago, spent many years in Japan. How many years in Japan?
14 years.
14 out of the 20, which is amazing. You've been in Singapore for how long? 6 months? 1 year?
Yeah, a year and a half.
Year and a half. And it feels like 15 years in Singapore, right? Absolutely. So what's going to be really interesting today, someone who is living in and is surrounded by some of the best produce in the world, and someone who can't go to the market and buy the best French bean, for example, because, as you all know, Singapore's agriculture is somewhat a little handicapped. And we early on had a conversation, and I tried to put a positive spin by saying, okay, besides the 10 cows we have in Singapore and a couple of green vegetables and hydroponics, we are also very lucky, because we can get some of the best produce from Australia, from the US, from Europe, Thailand, Indochina, as well as Japan. We really can get everything here. But do you truly get it in a supermarket on day to day? Who is going to NTUC and buys half a kilogram of tomatoes because they're extremely cost effective, only to bring them back home and realize they haven't really bought anything but water because there's no taste, no flavor, and so on. So they're going to talk a little bit, 2 perspectives on the cooking process, 2 perspectives on produce, having it surrounded by it. In Bruno, in Japan, you were spoiled, right?
Very much.
Are some of the products in Japan better than in France?
Better? I don't think so. It's different, you know.
It's different. That was a politically correct answer, because he's standing next to Yannick, so he better watch what he's talking about. Yannick, I don't think you have beef in France that drinks beers, that is massaged, that listens to 1 hour of classical music every day, right? You don't have that, right?
No, we don't have it.
Ah, okay. So you're more practical, huh?
Yeah.
Anyhow, and
we buy
really,
the product from Japan too.
Yeah. This is not going to be a battle, but what it is 2 extremely important opinions and reflections on produce and on the cooking. Ladies and gentlemen, you're really fortunate to have 2 superstars right in front of you, sharing some of the secrets. Bruno, Yannick, good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, welcome everybody. I'm very impressed. You know, I've been doing this WGS for years. I don't know for how many years, but we know each other with Peter for some time. In '97, that's the first time we met, Peter and I've been doing this event as a guest chef most of the time. Not most of the time, it's the first time I'm the host chef, and a great pleasure to welcome you, Yannick, here in Singapore. And yeah, coming here in Singapore for 15 years almost, I could see the evolution of foodies, and the F&B business, you know. 15 years ago, I mean, you didn't have even the Marina Bay Sands, you didn't have those big places, big famous restaurant and talented chef here, but you definitely had the people looking for good food. Singapore is a mix of different culture, different traditions also. This country is 47 years old. How do you want to have a lot of tradition in only one type of food? Because you have the Malay, the Indian, the Chinese, you have all that together. That's what used to be America 200 some many years ago, you know. I had the chance to work also in America, and finally it's a great blend of flavors, of spices and things like that. And my experience here after 20 years shows me that you can do everything you want finally based on where you come from. I'm French. How you say that? My flavors, my taste, my education is French, so I know what is supposed to be a French taste. I don't pretend to know what is an Indian taste or Japanese taste or any country in the world. That's why I'm learning. Everywhere I go and I'm learning, I just add a little bit of those amazing tradition to my bases. So that's what I'm doing, and I try to bring everywhere in the world my French tradition, what is in my heart, what is my education, and that's something very important. And when you see today in Singapore, all the cooking school you can have, I mean, you have at Sunrise, you have Shatek, I hope I said it right, it's Shatek, I think it's the right name, CIA, you have all those things. That means what? You have young people who want to become chefs, because I mean, you have great chefs coming for the past 17 years because of Peter, who bring chefs from around the world. I don't know whose great chef did not come in Singapore one time in the past 17 years. So thank you, Peter, and thank you to the WGS first. We start like that. Thank you, Peter. So great pleasure to have definitely Yannick here. We know each other for a couple of years. We had the pleasure to meet many times. When I was in Japan, I welcomed Yannick twice at Lausier. Lausier was a fantastic restaurant. We had also the pleasure to have Michelin star at Lausier, and we had the same blend. We had the same vision, and we have the same idea. So it was very easy for us to put his recipe with my team, the team. I try to share with my team in Japan my techniques, my way of cooking, my way of choosing products also. And as Peter mentioned before, that was very easy because Japan is a country where you produce. You have vegetable, chicken, pork, kurobuta, you have this famous beef, you have beautiful scallops from the north of Japan, you have uni, the beautiful unis that people think. You have uni, Japanese uni from north of Japan who goes everywhere in the world. I think that only the production of the uni of the north of Japan is 15% of what Japanese people eat around the year. So the production is very unique, very small. And we had friends, I mean, Eric Fréchon did that, and I'm sure you, Yannick, you did that also, did some book where things you have to eat one time in your life. And this is very important, that your standards have to be the higher standards. You have to eat those uni from north of Japan. You have to eat the best products. I mean, we're going to go through that, but you know, everywhere in the world you have fantastic products here in Singapore, I'm sure there is the best of Singapore something. Crabs, you know, and crab is well known because of crabs. So why don't we find the best crab and tell the people around the world, when you come in Singapore, test the best crab or the best pepper crab, or there are many things. So this morning we're talking, Yannick and I, and he said, what is this? So there was something like that. I didn't bring the things. It was for the Kopai tea. Everybody know the Kopai tea. And when I used to come here, I was very interested about this crispiness and the Kopai tea. I was very interested about that, and I learned, and I add that on my techniques. And in Japan, in Tokyo, we had those small Kopai teas filled with whatever caviar. I mean, after you have to be very creative. But for me, when I think about Singapore, I think about the Kopai tea, the kuehs, the things like that. So there is definitely things in Singapore which are very interesting.
I stole the recipe.
He stole the recipe, definitively. Okay, so Yannick, we're going to talk about terroir.
Yes, I bring you a video. As you know, my fight is to bring back the earth and the space for agriculture around Paris. we had a very important culture. This is a piche from Montreuil. It's just, we try to buy around the city less than 30 kilometers. So the culture of Paris suffered by the war, of course, and after that the buildings take place, modern place on the agriculture. And so if you think about Paris and you said, I want to make an authentic food from Paris, you should have the authentic products. So I try to go around, and I started that work on 2006, to go around to see all the places around if we can find back a special chicken, special fish, special asparagus, special rhubarb, different things like that. And we found back 40 original products, and in the history we had 160, so we lose a lot. So now we try to make a reversion and to ask to the agriculture to make things for us. And the movement become so important that there is a program in Courance. The castle of Courance is just outside of Paris, 50 kilometers, and this is a huge place of cereals. And we start a program to make vegetables, beef, chicken, porks, different things like that. So I think the movement is on the good way now, and it's very important to see that people live just around, you know, and you see the asparagus catch inside the city. So it's very cool to make that encounter with them. Of course, when we speak about asparagus, it's time for that. So the Terroir Parisien is my restaurant in Paris. We just opened it 1 year ago. It's a bistro, and the food we will serve to La Cantine tonight is the recipe from the bistro. And it's really the place where the producer bring us the cabbage and everything. So every day you can push the door and to see someone come with cherries, and they catch in the morning. So the freshness is very important for us. So this is different dish we serve for the restaurant.
So, well, for example, me, I'm living for 20 years outside my country, but outside France. So my feeling is I can make French cuisine everywhere in the world. You know, sometimes people say, yes, you cannot eat better, whatever it is, out. When you go in France, that's the best place to eat French. That's definitely true, yes and no. I would say, why? Because, I mean, first of all, I know, as I told you, I have standards. I know this is my basics, this is my education, so I know what is supposed to be. So I try to pick the best product I can find everywhere in the world. I used to live in America, I used to live in Japan many years. I'm now today in Singapore, while Peter was right, there are no producers, no farmers, no growers, there are nothing here. And as Peter mentioned before, we had the chance to have the best from everywhere around Asia, from America, from Europe, and in 24 hours they fly the great outstanding product from Europe, from Rungis, that's the biggest market we can find in Europe, from Australia, New Zealand. And I can definitively offer to the guests here in Singapore real and true French cuisine. And that's very, very important. I pick products, we have company here who import products which are, who get quality good enough to produce good food. Otherwise you would not have fantastic restaurant. I'm talking about high-end restaurant like Joël Robuchon, Yves Savoy, you know, okay, Daniel Boulou, talking about French cuisine, you know, there are many more. You have Italian cuisine, you have whatever you want here in Singapore, and I believe that things, okay, here we have asparagus who came from France. You have two types of asparagus. Today, Yannick gonna cook the white one. Me, I'm gonna cook or finish the dish for the green one. But both, it's the beginning of the season in asparagus, you know. And so that's the very first week you can get asparagus this week here in Singapore and everywhere in France actually, and everywhere in the world. In the same time, I would pick, for example, this caviar. This caviar is coming from France, near Bordeaux. They've been producing caviar now in Bordeaux, and this is very interesting to see. You can get whatever caviar you want here in Singapore for sure. You need to know what is the best caviar you can find. A caviar box, for example, has to be sealed like that. And on the back of the caviar box, you have a number to prove it's coming from a farm, because that's what you can get today. The people who have the chance to be old enough, like me, not you guys, me, you know maybe what is a Russian caviar, wild, what is an Iranian caviar, wild beluga. Unfortunately, it's not allowed anymore. But so you cannot have those standards today. The standards today are the quality of the farm, the caviar coming from farm. You got some in China, you got some in France. This one is absolutely outstanding. You have a little bit everywhere in the world, but the most important is to make sure it's coming from professional. Professionals are always doing outstanding products. After, you need, if you are a foodie, to go into the process of learning. You need to go for dinners like we do. Yeah, there are 55 events during the World Gourmet Summit. So 55 times you can have the opportunity to meet chefs. 55 times you can meet people who pick products, who made a fantastic, how you say that, communion with the local chef. I mean, that's why we're going to cook together after Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at La Cantine, Yannick and I. We're going to cook some foie gras. Monday night, we're going to cook dishes from the terroir parisien. So we had to bring products from France and specifically from Paris, because Yannick is very specialized in the terroir. Paris is not only the Eiffel Tower, it's not only Le Louvre, it's also products, you know. We forgot about that. Even in France, we forgot about that. And Yannick took the opportunity because, and with his skill, his research, with his teams, he found that there are still asparagus in Argenteuil. Argenteuil, it used to be a huge place near Paris where you used to have the main production in asparagus, and it disappeared almost. And because of Yannick, they start the process to grow the asparagus from Argenteuil. Are they the best? They are the best for it because he's living in this area. And this is very important to me, that you help the growers, you help the people, and you help the local community to live through their products. Because without that, you cannot do good food. It's absolutely impossible. You agree with me?
That's perfectly correct.
So, I have to start. Apparently, I have to start. So we're going to do 2 recipes today. If there is any question, if there are any question about whatever in cooking, yeah, for sure, ask the question. Feel free to ask question to Yannick. I mean, we have the pleasure. It's not often he's in Singapore, and if you have any question about his experience here, I mean, in Paris, in France, you got many restaurants, but you got restaurants around the world, and I would be interested, maybe probably, to see how you can adapt your cuisine, and very creative cuisine. You know, Yannick also owned this, create this magazine, YAM. YAM means Yannick Aleno Magazine, for the people who try to understand this YAM, you know. That is Yannick Aleno Magazine, and this magazine shows what is the terroir from Paris, and you cannot get that yet, but we hopefully in the future can get this magazine. But because of that, young people, young generation of chefs, they can get the inspiration through that, and that's very, very important also, sharing with the young people, but not only with the young chefs who want to become great chefs, also for you guys, you know, if you want to cook at home, this is very simple. Try, just try to do that. That's very, very simple. This is very simple because food is very simple. I mean, as soon as you see food which is complicated, that's great. You know, I have nothing against the very complicated food with a lot of chemicals inside to do things. But the product, if it's a good product, you don't need to put things around too much. The product is good because the product is good. You're right?
Yeah. That's
you
right.
Agree with me?
You can make a very high dish with nice tomato, but trust me, you have to buy the real tomatoes and not tomato come from somewhere we don't know where, you know, how they grow, and so for your health too, it's very important to know where the product come from, you know, because we are what we eat, in fact, and I really take care about what I eat. So I think I have to take care about my customers too, and to give them the best of the best, and to be organic as often as possible. You know, really know where the products come from. It's so important.
So I'm going to show you one recipe we used to do at Lausier in Japan, but believe me, I can do that here in Singapore. I'm in front of you, I can do it in Singapore, so no problem. Okay, so I'm going to take those green asparagus, beautiful green asparagus. I wanted to have the asparagus from Robert Blanc. Unfortunately, it's not yet the season, but I would do that with the asparagus from Robert Blanc because they are simply the very best. The violet and green asparagus from Robert Blanc are simply the very best. So if you see on the menu asparagus from Robert Blanc, jump on it. Have the opportunity to try that. Make sure that your standards are going to be that level. So that's why not everybody going to get the asparagus. You have to use your imagination today, okay? But they are fantastic. Again, that's the very first you can get. We get that 2 days ago, and that's the very first we could get here in Singapore from France. You know, you can get products all around the world today. You can have things from Chile. You can get raspberry,
Australia,
strawberry from everywhere in the world. If you want to go into season, that's very important. This is very important. This is the very first from France. They have a specific flavor because of the terroir, because of the earth. The German asparagus, that's for Peter because he loves when I speak about Germany and all that. You know. The German asparagus are also very good, but those, I think, the better, whatever. Okay, we do a small asparagus dish. I mean, when I tell you it's simple, this one is it's a little bit technical, and when you see the dish, the finishing of the dish, when you have that coming in front of you in the restaurant, you say, wow, how this guy is doing those things, how this guy is doing that. So that's why I want to show you this dish today, because there are some tricks how professionals do small things. Actually, you see, that's not that difficult to do it. You just need the ingredients and in terms of techniques, all those small tricks here. So we have the asparagus. Do you know how we cook asparagus?
Yes.
Yes! Now, an asparagus, that's very easy. First of all, I'm going to show you how we peel an asparagus, okay? The asparagus, you always peel the asparagus from the head to the tail like that. That's very, very important. As a professional, you see, we have 3 asparagus, they already cooked here. We try to make that very nice, to have this nice cut here. I'm going to show you how we do that also. That's very, very simple. What I do, I take the asparagus, which camera? This one? Okay. There are small leaves here. You see that? Okay. We take that away. Because we're going to use that after for the presentation.
It's
No,
50.
no, I can see. Ah, I can.
Was it?
Ah, yeah, I can see. I can see. I can see. I can see. So very easy. We take that away to the top. That's very simple.
You save that, no?
I save that because after I'm going to boil that very. Yeah, I'm gonna use that for the decoration. So yeah, I do that. You know, bing, I take that away. Normally, that's the thing that the apprentices are doing because nobody likes to do that. You know, so I did that this morning. And remind me when I was a young chef. It was good actually.
Except when he's nervous, he has to do that too.
There was a good feeling. There was a good feeling. And okay, this almost naked now. The asparagus, and you just take the knife and you go around like that. Very, very simple. And here you take away the top of it, like this. Before you do that, you have some water, boiling water, with a lot of salt. Very important, the salt gonna keep the green, how you say that in English, gonna fix the green color when you're gonna cook the asparagus. And again, from the top to the bottom, yeah, you have people, sometimes they do that. You don't do that. Don't do that. This is not professional. You put the asparagus on a cutting board like that, and bing. Very simple, you go around the asparagus. And you see, it stays here because this part here, you will never use it, it's too hard. You know, the asparagus is like that in the sand. And if you leave the asparagus too long after, it's gonna grow and it's gonna be a beautiful plant. So this is what is the beginning of a plant actually. You know, this is gonna be leaves after, it's gonna look like dill. You know what is the aneth, the dill? It looks very much like dill.
And to make that, it takes more than 3 years to take the beans, to make the asparagus again. We call that a greffon. It's a kind of, griffon?
Griffon. I don't know.
You know, it's kind of roots like that and grow up.
The roots, yeah.
And so we need more than 3 years to make it again. So when the asparagus grow up, the flower, they take the beans again and make the process. And we need 3 years to make the fruit. So it's a very long process.
Okay.
That's why it's so expensive.
Okay, and you see, the asparagus is like that. So it looks good, it's the way you have that in the restaurant. But when you have friends, it's nice to take some time also to prepare the things in a nice way and a very elegant and artistic way. It's also when you're going to welcome people at home, you say, wow, how do you do that? Bruno Menard told me that. Right? Alright, bang, you know, alright. Okay, so the asparagus is like that. So you have your boiling water, you need a large bowl. All the greens, you need a large bowl to do that, you know. That's why we don't start to cook here, because it's going to take between, based on the size, between 12 and 18 minutes to cook an asparagus like this one. Next to it, you have a large bowl with ice water, because you need to shock the asparagus when it's cooked and when it's okay, into the ice water, and you can keep this beautiful green color. You see, it's absolutely, it's a very vivid, flashy color. So if you want to keep that green like that, I mean, you really need to cook that between 12 and 18 minutes. I mean, it depends how you like it and how big the size of asparagus is. And you put that ping into the ice water, and you put that on the side ready to go for the presentation. The small tips, you see, the small flowers, the small leaves you had before, same. A couple of seconds, maybe 30 seconds in this ice water, and ping, it becomes like that. You have here, and we're going to use that also for the presentation because it's tasty, it's part of the asparagus, it's edible, so it's too bad not to use it. Alright, for this recipe today, we're going to use caviar as I told you. This caviar is from France, very good caviar, from Bordeaux area. We're going to put that on those quail egg, very small quail egg. That we poached this morning also, same, to poach the small quail egg, water, salt, vinegar, white vinegar, like that. You have that very white. I'm going to give you a small trick to, this morning at 2, 4, you have 12 pieces here. The way we cut that was very easy because say, oh, I'm going to do that. This guy, the quail egg, I'm going to put small pieces everywhere. There is a small scissor like that. You see, you have that to, I don't know if I can say the name Siawat. I cannot say Siawat. I cannot. So you can get that in Temple Street. You know, everybody know Temple Street. So in Temple Street, in a very specific shop, there is you can buy those kind of things. So you have two sides on the egg, a very small side and the bottom side. When you cut, you don't cut that from the top, but from the bottom, but side on like that. I can cut that, yeah? Sure. I'm gonna do that here, I'm gonna do that here. Okay? Like this, and that's it. And that's it. And I'm gonna put that inside. And I'm gonna put that in my boiling water with the salt and the vinegar. What I do, I take a whisk and I start to turn the water to make like a, how do you say tourbillon in English?
Tourbillon.
You know, to turn like that. And I'm gonna put all my eggs in once like that, slowly in once, slowly, and they're gonna go all around like that, and they're gonna separate inside, and you're gonna have 12 eggs just like that.
How long you cook it?
You have to touch like that. No, but it's about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. Same, you really need your ice water next to it, and quickly take them. When they're okay, you just touch it with your hand like that. Inside they have to be soft. Yes, to be like the poached egg, and you reserve that the way it is here. Sounds very easy. It is very easy. Believe me, it is very, very easy. Okay? All right. I'm going to do some crouton to give some crunchy. You have caviar here. You're going to be very... when you do cooking, you need a couple of things. For the flavor, which is very important, is to have the acidity, the bitterness, the acidity. I try to think in French and in English in the same time, and there's not sometimes they're not very easy. You know? You have 4 flavors: sucré, sweet, salé, salty, amer, bitter, and acidic. That's the 4 things. In Japan, you have what we call umami, which is the quintessence of all those flavors. You know, but you try to put all that in balance. That's why you have the sweet and the ayod flavor of the caviar here, the milky and very twisted yolk inside, and that's not something I create. You know, you always have caviar with the egg cooked whatever way. Here you have some mayonnaise. We prepare some mayonnaise, so mayonnaise. I'm in front of professional today. I don't tell you how we do the mayonnaise, no? No? Okay, next. Okay, that's very good. But you see, the consistency of your mayonnaise is very important for the next step, you know. Mayonnaise, everybody, mayonnaise okay, huh? Okay? Okay, very good. We have here some different herbs. We have chive, we have tarragon, and we have, I don't remember in English how you say that. How do you say that? Chervil. Very well. For the small touch in the end, we have rock salt from Maldon, Maldon salt. We have good salt in France also, you know, what we call fleur de sel, everybody knows that, but this is very, very important. It doesn't matter where it's coming from, your salt. The important is you have some crystal of salt on your food, because that really enhances the flavor of your dish. Very, very important. And for the pepper, I didn't want something too strong, but I take also something from France, because I love the color, but I love even more the flavor. You know, that's the piment from Espelette, from the southeast of France. And one more time, those products are what we call red label. This one is a red label product in France. That means that's a product of quality, because there is a process to do this from the harvest to the very end product. There is a process to make it outstanding. So I would prefer from France a product which have the red label. Very important also. And for the decoration, I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to show you. I did that this morning. So how we do that? This is, firstly, I just boil into water, salted water. Same, we will talk about that before. Same, that's green, that's green. So salted water, a lot of water, a lot of salt. Put that inside about 1 minute. Cold water next to it to shock and to keep the chlorophyll inside. I blend that in my blender, and I got this beautiful green color, parsley coulis. What I'm going to do with that, I'm going to do the montage of the plate now. You know, sometimes you go in the restaurant and you see those plates, you got many points like that, and you say, wow, the guy, I mean, I don't know, I have 50 people to do those things. I'm alone. I'm alone with Yannick. And it's going to take me about 3 seconds to do 100, I don't know how many small points. I have this small machine here that you can find in a beautiful shop in Temple Street also.